We're here at Girona at Sea Otter Europe. I'm with the self-appointed emperor of BikeRadar content, Jack Luke, and we're bringing you the latest, the weirdest, the wildest, the most wonderful tech from this show, starting with Dangerholm's latest bike.
It is an absolute screamer. It is a Scott scale RC hardtail, which he has turned into, as he describes it, technically a gravel bike. Now, the bike itself is absolutely incredible. It's, future of gravel, whatever you want to call it. But the carbon exotica dripping from this, from Darimo, is mind-bending. There is absolutely mountains to talk about on this bike, but my goodness, clearly this integrated seat post saddle is the piece de la resistance on this bike. Now, Darimo tells us, the brand, that these are made completely custom to order. Now, obviously they are. It is a one-piece thing, but when you actually consider how much has to be specified per bike, the mind truly bends. So to start, of course, the angle of the saddle depends on rider fit, but also the seat tube angle of this bike. So you better be pretty confident with your measurements before you commission one of these. Now, Darimo tells us this is not something that's going to be available off the shelf. They are sort of experimenting a little bit with it, but if you ask really nicely and offer them a couple million quid, they'll build one for you.
The one-piece saddle and seat post is really cool, but I also love this one-piece cockpit that they've custom made. And these are available for €899, and you can have them in any combination you want, any length, any angle, any width, any flare. You can have a weave finish like this one. They've also got UD carbon, and yeah, it's just an amazing piece of engineering that really finishes the bike nicely.
Come down here, our final thing is the new crankset. This is all new for Darimo. It's the first time they're showing it, and this crankset is not designed to be the absolute lightest on the market. It is exceptionally light, but it's really designed to be a more durable premium carbon option. The most interesting thing in this is, unlike typical carbon cranksets of this ilk, it's actually just a two-piece design. So the spindle is integrated into the non-drive side crank arm. Another really nice little note from the brand, they explained that the alloy sort of sleeve, I suppose, where the crankset fits onto the axle is not bonded onto the axle. It's mechanically fitted onto there, but also the resin is sort of compacted, I suppose, when the weave of the carbon is molded. So the whole thing, they said, will never come apart. You would really have to break the whole crankset for it to come apart, but compared to bonding, it's much stronger and much lighter. Now, the full bike weighs 7.19 kilograms. That is astonishingly light for a very, very forward-thinking, proper futuristic gravel bike. There's going to be more details of that on BikeRadar.com once I shoot it. It's a very, very tasty bit of kit.
Couldn't walk past Pogačar's bike without filming it. I come here to Oquo, which is Orbea's wheel brand. I found these, the RP50s. So these are originally designed for gravel, but interestingly enough, they were telling us that the Lotto team that's sponsored by Orbea asked if they could use these for the Trouble Classics as well. So opening weekend in Paris-Roubaix, they were using these because they've got a 25mm internal rim width, which is pretty cool. The tech originally designed for gravel, crossing over to the road. It's nice to see brands like cross application stuff, and they made me a little coffee, which is very nice of them. The hubs also have this amazing pale gold finish, which looks really specialist, really trick, and they use a shark ratchet, which you can see here in this cutaway. Super tight profile to it. Very nice. This is the profile of the RP50 25mm internal, and you can see mini hooks as well. They've got Jack Luke written all over them. I'm here at the Factor stand and I'm checking out the new Aluto gravel bike, which is their sort of race adventure gravel bike that's just come out. It's really sleek looking, it's got internal frame storage, two really cool colorways. There's this red and grey, and then they've got this blue one. And these colorways are inspired by the Dakar Rally, which is a gritty road car touring race, which is really epic. They've also got over here, which I haven't seen in the flesh before, but I've talked quite a lot about on the channel, this absolute specimen, still unreleased, crazy looking aero bike. Look at that fork. That is wild. I can fit my whole hands inside that space. That is huge. And then the head tube is so slim. That's With my hand for scale. Look at that. I'm here at the classified stand looking at Toby Perry's bike, gravel hitter, racing tomorrow as well. Interestingly, he's racing on the Rose back road, not the FF, which is their more like all-road touring setup. I'm going to chat to Toby and find out a bit more about his racing setup. Toby Perry.
Hello.
What's your favourite thing about your race bike?
It has to be the classified gear system, giving me a massive range of gears and allows me to run a massive purple chainring, mostly for intimidation.
Nice. And tell me about that paint job.
So this custom paint job I got done in Belgium because I didn't like the one it came with. I thought it was a bit boring, so I gave a friend of ours just full creative control and just told him I wanted purple and white. Everything else is up to you.
Nice, nice. And then you've gone for the back road, not the FF. Tell me your thinking behind that.
Yeah, so the back road is their more like endurance bike packing kind of gravel bike, which meant it's got like a longer wheelbase and slightly slacker angles, which I prefer for gravel riding. So like half my team really love the aggressive FF, but I just prefer having a really long wheelbase, it being really stable, and therefore I can just descend a bit faster.
Amazing. And you told me you put a 2.2 in the front, did you, before?
It can fit a 2.2. I won't be using one this weekend, but I can fit a 2.2. I haven't worked out what I can fit in the back. Definitely a 50.
Nice, nice man, amazing. Well, good luck tomorrow. Thank you very much. So it's not new tech, but the classified system is really interesting with internal hub gears. So Toby's got a massive 54 tooth chainring and then an 1140 cassette. So 5440 is still a pretty hefty gear, but then inside the hub, internal shifting, and it reduces this down to like a planetary gear system. So actually, it's like having a 2x without any of the front mech faff. Yeah, super cool setup, super cool bike. One of those, you know this guy races, because it's trick as it gets. Yeah, love it.
Now this bike caught our eye, and how couldn't it? Look at that wild rear end. This is the BH Gravel X, which uses what it calls its SRS rear suspension system. It's not suspension in the traditional sense of the word. It's a very similar setup to something like the Cannondale Topstone, where you have a pivot on the seat tube and a flexible rear end. These cutouts on the chainstays are said to improve the rear end compliance, allowing the rear wheel to just flutter a little bit over rough terrain. And if we go to the forward front end of the bike, we see that quite signature kinked forward BH style forward. BH hasn't supplied any specific details in terms of its aerodynamic qualities, but it does look to follow the typical sort of gravelly race platform we're seeing for most bikes these days. Now Ollie isn't going to have a clue what I'm talking about because he's not much of a shredder like me, but this is a really intriguing new product from DT Swiss. It is its new DF anti-pedal kickback free hub. We wrote a really good story over on BikeRadar on this. It was far too hot for me to remember all the details, so I'm going to read from my very helpful notes. But this new system, unlike other pedal kickback systems in the market, could be retrofitted to existing DT Swiss hubs which use their DEG ratchet system. That is really notable because DT Swiss is a massive brand. It also licenses a lot of its free hub tech to other brands, which means there's a good chance you can fit this to your bike. Check this out. 0, 10 and 20 degrees. The system can be adjusted between 0, 10 and 20 degrees afloat before the free hub kicks in, and if you have a bike with loads and loads of pedal kickback, it could be a really intriguing option if you are sort of anti-pedal kickback curious. It's really damn hot.
It's really hot. We're two pasty guys out in the heat.
Suffering for the sake of your entertainment.
The UCI has no jurisdiction in gravel. Look at these from Speeco. Super narrow, super aero, and also pretty high stack height. I'm not sure who the rider of this Rodeo Labs is, but that is quite a dramatic position. Now, at first glance, this Gusto bike might not look like much. In fact, it actually looks a little bit sort of janky. It's got force shifters, a red front mech, Praxis chain rings. It's a bit all over the place, and it's rim brake. But there's one detail about this bike that make it possibly one of the most special bikes at the show, and that... old Tadej. This is the bike that he won Lavinier on in 2018, before anyone knew who he was. That's super cool. quick interval from the trade show to pick up my race number for tomorrow.
Jumping straight ahead, we're already actually into day 2 of the show, and I've been having fun traipsing around, getting very, very sweaty, publishing some cool stuff on the site. But more to the point, young Ollie has been out racing and he's just finished. How did you get on?
I parked quite hard. It's been really hot, and turns out walking around a trade show the day before a big hard gravel race is not ideal prep. But it's very beautiful. I love riding around here, and I did have a lot of fun despite the pain and suffering.
And fundamentally, he also published some great content on BikeRadar.com, so he might not have won the race, but he won the content championships.
As decreed by the Emperor.
Precisely. Hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been really fun. It's been a really good show. Loads of interesting stuff here. Of course, stay tuned on BikeRadar.com for the latest trade show and cycling tech news, or on the YouTube channel. If you don't already, like and subscribe. In the meantime, well wishes to Ollie. Congrats on your hardcore race.
Thank you.
We'll speak to you again soon.